Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen, ishpata, balikarayo, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shaza Hashmi welcoming you to your very favorite and your very own world this morning. On a very pleasant and a very fine Monday morning over here in the Twin Cities. I really hope and pray that all of you are coming out of a great weekend. Your spirits are definitely lifted, and all of you are doing good and healthy. Well, for my regular viewers who have been checking up on me, thank you so much. Yes, I was missing for a past few days. I've been doing good, but I felt like I really did need a break. I went on a very small, self-proclaimed holiday slash vacation to my parents' place as well, because I feel like your mental health definitely needs a sort of a break too, right? I mean, there are hardly any few days that we pay attention to it as well. So that's what I was doing. I'm absolutely great and back to share my mornings with you, learning with you every other day as well, and increasing our knowledge and wisdom. Yes. Today, we actually have lined up a very, very great show. I'll tell you why, because the two things we are going to be talking about. First of all, we have spoken about them for so many times on this particular show, especially ever since I've been here for the past more than 3 years now. But on this day specifically, I feel like I have the very apt panel of guests over here to discuss this. Before that, I almost forgot, oh my God, winter is here. Just last night, it was insanely, insanely crazy. Just beautiful, raining with thunder showers, thunderstorms all over the city of Islamabad and Rawalpindi. Now, I'm not really sure if it was raining in other parts of the country as well. Do write me to let me know, because I'd love to hear from you. But for a moment in the area that I live, do you guys remember? It was probably 2 months ago that there was a flash flood over there. And I was panicking, especially for all the people living down there, because there is some sort of, encroached area over there as well. And you fear for those people, especially when such type of a weather strikes, right? There are some people who do not have enough resources to cope up with such things. So I really hope and pray everyone did great out of it. And yes, now it is definitely time to enjoy the winter over here. And while we do enjoy that, I feel like, it's the small things that matter. It's the small things that come together to make a healthy you. It's nothing complete. I'll tell you why. If you speak to anyone, anywhere in the world, no one, I don't think they'll be able to say, I am a completely happy person. And that's not a bad thing. I'll tell you why. Because there are so many small things, like I already did say, that come together to make you happy. This weekend, like I did mention, I was away for a little break for my, of course, mental health as well. And my therapist told me, I'm going to tell you some coping mechanisms, and there are small things that you have to do to feel happy. I thought maybe she's going to give me an assignment, and maybe I have so many things to do. Do you know, two of the smallest things were pop a bubble wrap, and number two was wear a lipstick of your favorite color. Smallest things, right? But just doing that made me feel like, yes, it did make an impact on me feeling better. So, if I haven't already given it away, ladies and gentlemen, today I am definitely going to be talking about mental health awareness, because while, of course, we did last week talk about it the entire week, but yesterday probably was particularly the Mental Health Awareness Day itself. And this year, the slogan for the campaign is really interesting, because everyone is actually determined to make mental health awareness a reality, and actually being able to provide mental health services to each and every single person who requires it. The sad, or the rather unfortunate part of it is 1 billion people around the world do suffer from one or another sort of, mental health disorder, mental disorder for that matter. And this is why we have to talk about it, to make it a reality, so that those services can be provided to those people. But on top of that, this day particularly happens to be so important, because, ladies and gentlemen, being the member states of the United Nations, we love to celebrate, not celebrate, rather, observe the important days, or the important key events that actually are going to eventually change the world for the better. And on this day, we are talking about the importance of, or the significance of, or just, talking about the rights of the girl child in the world. Do you know that, generally speaking, ever since the pandemic started, a lot of people lost access to many resources in terms of job, even, the socioeconomic systems were trembling. And in terms of now that we are into a digital world, a lot of people lost their connection to internet as well. I know it sounds funny, because for us, I mean, every other second we are on the internet, but imagine people do live in such circumstances, or come from such segments of the society, that they lost their internet connection. And what does that mean? That only means you're not connected to the world, and it's such a huge thing. Now, unfortunately, for the people who did lose their connection to the internet, which was around, yes, 2.2 billion, that is insane. Most of them were girls under the age of 25. Can you believe that? Well, there are so many reasons. We are going to discover them. Why particularly girls? But this is what we need to talk about. All the issues, all the challenges that all the girl childs are facing, children are facing in the world, and how maybe we can fix them. What are the prevalent stats of such conditions in Pakistan? And how the frustration from being discriminated on the basis of your gender can actually also lead to mental health issues. To talk about that, my very perfect panel of guests who has been very patiently waiting and hearing me as well. First of all, I happen to have someone who is a consultant clinical psychologist. She happens to be Dr. Samra Salik. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my show.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Next, we have someone who happens to be the founder for the Free Medical Education. He is definitely going to add up his insight into how we are observing the International Day for the Girl Child, along with mental health awareness too. Dr. Maaz Aslam, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam, and it's an absolute honor to be on this show. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, thank you so much. Last but not the least, she's so well spoken. When I knew she was coming to the show, I was like, oh, I'm not worried at all. She happens to be the founder and the chairperson for the Human Security Institute, Ifat Parvez. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back.
Assalamu alaikum, Shiza, and it's again an honor and a privilege for me to be with you, to have conversation with you, and to be on this esteemed platform for one another time.
It is definitely our pleasure as well. So I think because this particular day is all about the girl child, so let's begin with that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere I did read that the theme for this year is going to be digital generation, our generation. Let's begin with you, Dr. Maaz. What do you think about the significance of this day particularly? Why did we have to dedicate one entire day just to girls?
So, what has happened across the world has been that there has been a slow but progressive uplift in the quality and standards of the girls around the world.
Yeah.
Before that, what was happening was that they were being completely ignored, or they were not being given their proper due.
Okay.
However, like you yourself mentioned, that with the new age, that is the digital age, it brings to us unprecedented opportunities that were never there before in the human history. Just to give you an example, every single person among us has used Food Panda to order food, Zoom to have a meeting, or Careem and Uber to travel around.
Yes.
Also, you might have seen that in our society as well as in other developing parts of the world as well, girls are being disproportionately, they have been affected by every single thing. They have a lack of access to the education, they have a lack of access to basic facilities, they have a lack of access to employment, and so on and so forth.
Right.
However, these have to do more with the culture as compared to the religion. I'll give you just one short example.
Yeah.
That in the whole Quran, there's only one incidence where a hand in marriage was asked for, and that was by a woman when she asked for Hazrat Musa alayhi salam's hand in marriage.
Okay.
And that is the only incidence. While in our culture, it is considered a taboo that if any girl goes out and she asks for it. With the digital age, it also enables us that every single Pakistani is already connected or on the verge of being connected. If we are able to provide them with the right tools, they can easily and quickly be able to lift themselves up and reach that standards that are there in the developed world, inshallah.
That is very, very true and brilliantly put as well. You want to add something, Dr. Samra? All right, so moving on to you, Ifat, still staying on the topic as well, I want your insight on the significance of this day, first of all. And then, ever since the pandemic started, the number of out-of-school children increased. It's insane, it's definitely so huge, and most of them are girls. So there is a documentation of girls from different parts of the world, about 15 countries on the UN's website, and they sort of, told in terms of stories what happened to them during the pandemic. And most of them had to leave school because if their parents were laid off, they had to do the labor for them, of course, to earn money, or either they were married or whatnot. What do you think are the reasons? Why are girls more hit than men? And I'm talking on facts, please don't come after me on this. Go on.
Okay, Shiza, this is very pertinent question and it need to be answered on several levels.
Yes.
Well, first comes first. In general, there is a gender bias in this world in general, and in the south pole of this world, specifically developing countries like Pakistan in specific.
Yes.
Gender biased, it is existing, number one. Number two, cultural barriers are there. Number 3, patriarchal society, it also comes in and play its due role in order to make the girls just bound inside the territorial boundary of their homes. So these are the few of the primary factors.
Right.
Along with that, the pandemic also comes in and play its role, that also further deteriorated the state of what I may call is gender equality. It further deteriorated. So there is a very need to discuss these things. And this is the right time to play our part, because the World Girl Child Day, it stated that there is a need for equal world.
Absolutely.
We must strive and struggle in order to forge a equal future for both, for female and male both. Because what we believe at the Human Security Institute is that every girl and every boy, they are human beings first, and later they are having their gender either male or female. So they must be treated as human beings, and what the rights they have reserved as a human being, they must be given to them. And we are so lucky and so privileged being in Pakistani society, that our constitution of Pakistan, from Article 1 to 25A, as I talked last time also, it is talking about the basic human rights.
To all,
To
regardless
all.
of gender, yes.
To all, regardless of gender. Yes, Shiza.
Absolutely. For that is very rightly said as well. And when you talk about gender discrimination or just any sort of inequality of discrimination, it does lead to frustration, yes, and eventually mental health issues. I mean, just put yourself in someone's shoes. If even at the smallest incidents, you know, it happens at a lot of Pakistani households. If there's a brother and if there's a salan going on, you know, boti bhai ko de do, salan khud kha lo. It's the smallest thing, I'm telling you guys, and it's so common. It happens in a lot of households. Now imagine how hard it must be for someone to go through such sort of you know, discrimination. And just because mental health happens to everyone, not just girls, it happens to boys, men, women, non-binaries, every single person out there. Do you know, just because of this added pressure on your, well, brain for that matter, or loss of productivity, $1 trillion on a global economy is lost every year, because people with mental health cannot cope, cannot work, cannot well, be at that level of productivity where they usually are. What do you have to say about this, Dr. Samra?
Very nicely put by Ms. Ifat Qureshi, and the way she said that there is a lot of inequality basically. So when we talk about that inequality, we need to see that whenever there is an unbalanced kind of a thing, or there is a lack of synchronization, whether it is between the genders, or is it sects, or is it cultures, whatever, we very majorly see that it leads to a certain kind of frustration, a certain kind of competitive streak immediately rises. So if we connect the concept of this Girl Day, it is less about improving or increasing the rights of the girls, rather the larger perspective is that it is more about the balance that we need to create in the society with respect to males and females both, so girls and boys both. Similarly, we also say that this leads to the inequality, leads to a lot of frustration. So when we talk about this frustration, that eventually leads to a lot of mental health issues and frustrations and being upset and whatnot. And then we don't limit it to girls, and we somehow broaden it to all the genders, all the sects, all the social cultures.
Absolutely.
Similarly, when we also talk about the mental health crisis being afflicted, somehow issues being hit by any individual in this society, we talk about the quality of life being compromised and the society going down the drain with somehow just being on the level of compromise. So again, mental health is definitely something that should be the utmost priority. And just the Mental Health Day being celebrated just yesterday, that is 10th of October, the theme says of and talks about the unequal world.
Okay.
When we talk about an unequal world, it does not mean that you are different from me or I am different from him.
Okay.
It is about how mental health is treated unequally. The budget allocated to mental health services is different than the budget allocated to the medical health. The way we take care or we consider or we look after the mental health issues is different than how we take care of other pandemics and other issues.
Right.
And very similarly, the last thing would be that see how we immediately inequate the person who is undergoing a mental health crisis.
Yes.
Someone who is not very happy or is upset or is depressed or anything, we immediately try not to equate or no, he is not up to the mark. No, he will not be able to do that. Or no, that might not be the right choice for him. Why? We need to empower every person in the community. We need to reach out to every girl, every boy, and yet in every individual to make sure that mental health is available. The facilities are available for all individuals.
That is very brilliantly put, Dr. Samra, and I feel like we need to understand this. If you cannot see it, doesn't mean it's not there. And this is so true in terms of mental health because, well, physical diseases, you do see one. You see even the smallest blister you see and you're so worried about it, you want to get it treated. So imagine what's happening to your mind. Well, my team has actually compiled a small informative report for you guys about mental health awareness. Let's take a look at it, and when we come back, we will definitely continue this discussion.
Most of us grow up hearing the catchphrase, health is wealth. While physical health is an important area of concern, a significant aspect of health which remains largely neglected is mental health. Mental health issues are not only ignored but also stigmatized. Having any mental health issue is synonymous to bringing disgrace and shame to the family. Most times, the elders outright dismiss the existence of any mental health issue and opine that it is only a creation of one's own mind, present because the individual thinks too much, is ungrateful, or is not pious enough. The stigma related to mental health issues comes from patriarchy, religion, and the social pressure that arises from stereotypes related to having mental health problems. Due to these stereotypes and the associated social pressures, even the first step of confiding in someone becomes an arduous task. In this way, the stigma prevails. According to World Health Organization, in developing countries like Pakistan, 1% of the population suffers from severe, while 10% suffer from mild mental disorders. Addressing persisting mental health issues is significant in order to be a healthy, contributing member of society. Unaddressed issues can lead to problems like social alienation, anger issues, and feelings of helplessness, drug abuse, eating disorders, and self-destructive behavior.
Well, you know, I feel like if there's a way of catharsis or expression, you definitely feel better mentally as well. It's not a permanent solution, and this is just my opinion on what you can do on a daily basis too. Now imagine having the access to internet or having similar resources, having the option of connectivity with your friends or with your family. How good must you feel? And we cannot really not actually relate to it because we have the resources on a daily basis. But you know, globally speaking, the gender gap for the internet users actually increased from 11 to 17% during the pandemic, which means that the amount of girls that were not able to have access to internet before the pandemic has increased by 7%, if I'm doing the math right. So this is insane, definitely. But what do you think are some of the reasons which may have contributed to it? Let's talk about Pakistan in general and the circumstances here.
So I will start off right at the beginning of this question, which is that 1 in 4 Pakistanis, through credible studies, it has been shown they need medical intervention in order to help themselves. So there are two kinds of therapies that you can offer in medicine. One is where you go for curative therapy, which is the lowest stage or the end stage of a disease. Then there is one that is called preventive therapy. That is where you are able to empower that particular person or individual. So when it comes to this internet connectivity and all of this, there are 4 particular initiatives that we are working on to help the girls and generally the public as well. Number 1 is the free medical education, in which what we are trying to do with the help of all the psychologists, that we are pairing them up with state-of-art animations and are enabling them, every single person, regardless of the gender, to be able to access in their own local language, free of cost, entire mental health.
Brilliant.
And also they can access all other health related issues as well.
Brilliant.
Second of our initiative is free animated education. What we are doing is that you might have seen that there are many charity schools that are being built in the periphery, but because they're not paying well, so the teachers, they are unable to attract high quality teachers in the periphery. So what we are doing is that we are converting the entire single Nashik curriculum into animations, and then we are enabling every single person regardless of their gender, and it will be more beneficial to the girls to be able to access that particular topic with a single click as well. And it was also selected among National Incubation Center in Pakistan's top 20 startups as well. And third, what we are trying to do is that there is a huge, our society is a religious society. We have to accept that fact.
Yes.
So in Free Quran Education, which is the largest Islamic education platform with more than 10 million plus social media subscribers, what we are doing is that we are challenging this. Like, we have developed a whole series that is based around how Prophet, peace be upon him, interacted with the woman in his life. It has been developed by Sister Noha Omari, and that is also made available to every single human being. And fourth is, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to do the hybrid of the IT and agriculture. So we have set up IT training centers where women are being taught, and we can also connect you as well with them, that they have been able to earn on their own and in agriculture sector as well. So there's an initiative, it's called Kitchen Gardens Village, what we have, because most of our women, they're still associated with the agriculture sector.
Yes.
But any woman who has a rooftop is able to do a kitchen gardening, and she's able to earn or grow 12,000 rupees worth of vegetables per month with a slight motivation and right guidance as well, and many of them are doing as well. So when it comes to our women, we have to look at some certain deep factors as well. Like, for example, why is a woman not being sent to school? Because in far-fetched areas of Pakistan, somebody has to go and get the drinking water, and they have to spend 6 hours there. So then the parents have to decide that either it's my son that's going to go or it's my daughter that has to go. The parent do not have the choice, the liberty to send both of them. That is where these sacrifices are being made. So we have to go and address those deep rooted issues, so that our parents are not being forced to pick one of them, and we are not condemning our parents that why they are picking this or that. Instead, we are able to equip those parents that both of them can go out and fulfill their potential in their life. You might have seen that every successful person in Pakistan or internationally had that light bulb moment in their life where they were mentally equipped and they were able to overcome the obstacles in their lives.
Right.
So this is something that I feel should be addressed. Thank you.
I feel like, Dr. Maaz, credits due where it's due. You guys are doing an amazing job, because when we, particularly about Pakistan for all, because we go, live in more than 46 different countries, I have to mention over here. Girl education is something so important, because a lot of women, a lot of girls, young girls who belong to the downtrodden segments of the society, which is most of them belonging to rural areas, like Dr. Maaz mentioned, their parents actually have to choose at one point if their girl really needs to go to school or not, because if she stays back, she can do the house chores. If she stays back, she can work in the field, like you already did mention as well. There are so many things that need to be catered for. And then, having visual animations for the SNC that you mentioned, that anyone sitting at any village or any charpai in any dhaba can actually access this sort of education. This is absolutely amazing. This is where I feel like we also reduce the gender discrimination or inequality as well. Coming to you, Ifat, I want you to add on to some of the contributing factors, or the prevalent issues rather, that girl childs have over here in Pakistan.
Okay, Shiza, first of all, there's a famous quote: you educate a man, you educate a man. You educate a woman, and you educate a generation.
True.
We need to absorb this fact that, and we can witness it in our surroundings. When you have an educated mother at home, the child brought up will be different.
Yeah.
And when you have uneducated women around your society, so it will be very difficult even to deal with her. At the Human Security Institute, we have actually established a center on sustainable development goals set by United Nations.
Yes.
And United Nations says that we have to achieve these goals till 2030. And gender equality is goal number 5
Okay.
in SDGs.
Okay.
So in gender equality, we are working here in Pakistan with different collaborations with different organizations, be it governmental or private organizations. So what we are trying to do is to spread this awareness, that send their girl child to school. This is very important.
Yeah.
Girls needs to be equipped with education,
True. True.
and we need to work on it. Not only we, but the on it need to be done on the governmental level also, and every individual need to play its part for the girl education.
And you are definitely right, because if you look at the larger realm of it, education is also exposure. You're going to sort of see how the circumstances or the system of a school works. You're going to learn from your teachers. There are new people, strangers. You're going to make friends into the society as well. You are going to bring all of their insights into your own home and share with the people around you. It's all sort of exposure. It's absolutely brilliant. But when you don't have access to that, definitely, like we already did mention, and we are talking about it throughout the entire show as well, it does lead to frustration, or eventually, even if you don't realize, your mental activity becomes limited, with time, when you're not exposed to such kind of education or newer information. And when you have mental health issues, science now says that your life can actually be reduced by 10 to 20 years. Is this true, Dr. Samra, first of all? And how, of course, now that we are leading towards decreasing the gender discrimination, do you think we are there, or where are we in terms of that?
Yes, I am very happy to say that we are very close to being there where we should be.
Okay,
and
that's good
that
news.
is, yes, that's very positive. Though the distance is very far, the effort is going to be very hard. But again, a lot of organizations, a lot of professionals, a lot of people getting together for a common vision
Yes.
can definitely make the journey easier. How? Just recently, on account of the World Mental Health Day, we tried from the Forum of Psych Care, that's a clinical setup that's practicing in Islamabad. We tried collaborating with multiple people in Islamabad, and fortunately both of them happens to be one of the collaborators.
Oh, that's very
Dr. Maas
nice.
was one of the collaborators, and the Human Security Institute was the other, along with an Higher Education Institute and another medical institute, and various parliamentarians and government officials joined us on the event. And what was that? It is exactly what you're talking about right now. It was to bring together a multi-sectoral collaboration to get there. It is very easy to identify the issues, right? But what do we do then? But again, if the different organizations gather together, work and talk about it, that's the first step that we need to take. So yes, I'm very happy and very proud to say that people here in Islamabad and generally in Pakistan are definitely making efforts and at their own level, and we're trying to gather them together. And now that is going to take it further and to a very larger extent, very larger extent. The National Mental Health Task Force is in place for that.
Okay.
And there is a proper segment and a section that talks about the mental health of gender and females and girls. So the discrimination is soon not going to be there. Now, where does it come from? It's very simple. People know me as a girl, people know me as a female, people would know me as a sister, people would know me as a mother, people will know me as a daughter.
Right.
But what about the individuality of a girl? What about the individuality of an individual,
The person.
from where those problem arises? What and how do I experience, and what is it that I suffer back home due to any crisis or a stressor?
Okay.
What is it that you experience when you have to rush here to the work, to the studio, while there is a lot going on at the home front? Similarly, when there is a lot of responsibility and you have to somehow make sure that you're fulfilling all the roles of life, so the individuality loses basically, and that is from where the mental health issues start growing. So if we just start addressing the individuality and the person, and when I talk about the individuality, I would like to mention three major components. That is the thoughts, the emotions, and the behaviors. How does an individual think? How does she feel? How does she behave? If we are able to identify and pick that there is something being there, something is, we can identify that there is an issue that's prevalent and someone is being negative or someone is not being very happy and the main energy is not there, we need to somehow reach out to that person.
Definitely. And you know what, Dr. Samra, where you mentioned that Islamabad and Rawalpindi compared to others definitely are now more educated about mental health and they are well improving. That's great. But what really bothers me over here, and I've spoken about this before as well, we happen to be a country of, well, millions of people where most of them reside in suburbs or particularly extremely rural areas. Hardly few percent of them, hardly few of their family members would come out into the urban areas to get education, but they still live there. Now we're talking about the men. If it mentioned it's a patriarchal society, culture, we cannot deny that, right? Those men specifically, people in those particular households have deeply rooted mental issues. Imagine, I'm speaking on behalf of most of them, unfortunately. Imagine growing up looking at your father or the males of the house beating the females of the house. They're not allowed to go out. If they want to add their opinion, they are shunned. And these are just some of the smallest behaviors. If my roti is not garam, then you get violated, you know. If my khana is not on time, you get violated. These are some of the very deeply rooted issues that most of the men in Pakistan have. And I'm going to say now some females as well, depending on the generation where they come from. How do we deal with them? They don't live in Islamabad. They are who I'm worried about. And they will not actually have access to the mental health services that the internet will provide.
Very true. And what this is the unfortunate part, but what we need to do is that we reach out to each individual and we psychoeducate them. We run awareness and advocacy campaigns. PsyCare has taken the initiative of advocating individuals through media, print media, electronic media, reaching out from door to door.
Right.
See, just recently I was meeting one of the DG Federal Directorate of Education to discuss one of the similar avenues that I want to reach out not as an individual but as a society, as a community of psychologists to each girl in the Federal Directorate schools and colleges so that they can go back home and take that. And that is because we withdraw. We as females tend to withdraw and we let this happen, right? We give up.
Yeah.
That is because the coping is not very strong. Now here I would tap a very important aspect of the mental health, that everything has to do with coping and the defense mechanisms, right? So when we talk about coping, so we need to empower our girls, our individuals with that coping so that they can take a stand, not by standing against them with a quarrel or a scuffle, rather in a manner where they are able to communicate, they are able to deliver their ideas, they are able to express their feelings.
They feel heard for that matter. Dr. Samra, I'd ask you to please hold on to that thought, because right now we're definitely headed to a very short break. When we come back, we are looking for solutions to all these issues, particularly the issues that the girl child have over here in Pakistan, and then all the mental health issues that anyone might have, especially in Pakistan, because I care about my country and I feel like I'm going to get some brilliant answers over here because I have 2 doctorates and a think tank over here in the studio. Stay tuned to find out. Good morning. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching World This Morning. This is Shiza Hashmi, and I'm hoping that all of my regular viewers have heard me and actually are ready with their very healthy plate of breakfast for today. I do advocate this, and I will again start your day with the best sort of plate. That must also include fruits as well, because of course, the way you sort of put the food in yourself is going to lead your mental health for the day as well. And I hope and pray that all of you feel good. We are talking about mental health awareness, yes, and especially on this day, we are talking about or discussing the issues or challenges that the girl child faces in Pakistan. And since we're left with 5 minutes or so, I think I'm going to move on to my perfect guest over here to let me know what the solutions are for these particular issues, especially in terms of Pakistan. Dr. Samra, let's begin with you, please.
It starts off with having the awareness at the first level. Second, at the state level, we need to come up with policies, we need to come up with good structures which can definitely make sure that everyone feels protected, secured, and they live in an environment where they can get justice, they can get hold of their rights, because any system that we tap, we see that there are issues. Any education system, when we come across, there is a complete mafia propaganda kind of a thing being run inside the organizations.
Right.
So we need to check and have some monitoring and evaluation for those.
Okay.
When I talk about the mental health issues particularly and the mental health solutions, so see, if we are able to identify, it goes out to all the audience who are watching us today, that please evaluate and monitor your thoughts.
Okay.
Monitor how you think to simple situations when you are in a simple conversation in the lounge with the family, and what is the first thought that pops up, and is it a positive one or is it a negative one?
Right.
Is it something that's very upsetting, or is it just something that's okay? Similarly, how do I feel for most of the day? Am I happy? Am I excited? Am I comfortable with what I am doing? Am I invested with my energies? And then how my dealings and my behaviors are at my workplace, my home, my family, my interpersonal. If we are able to identify all these three and monitor them, the first step of therapy starts.
Okay.
Normally, when we have a usual cough or a sore throat, we do not run to the doctor, right? So going to the psychologist is not the first thing that you need to do.
Okay.
But yes, this comes at a certain level of intervention. So identify, get aware, and then work on it through multiple practices. Just rightly said by you that putting up a lipstick or going out for a vacation or taking a break is one of the pleasant activity scheduling that we advise to our clients as well.
Okay.
Very similarly, we tell them to prepare or maintain a gratitude journal.
Okay.
We tell them to identify the goods and the bads from the day. We tell them to somehow visualize and go through some guided imagery techniques so that they can help you process, because process is something that's movement, and any kind of movement is eventually that leads to certain kind of an outcome, right? So some of these things, and then yes, if you're struggling with any issue, any stressor, anything, please understand, I advocate for it very strongly. Do not think that you are a psychopath or you have a mental health issue. See, we go to a salon to get the grooming done.
Yeah,
Similarly, why can't we go and get the grooming of a personality or our soul done?
Very rightly said.
Why not empower ourselves with things that we are unable to reach out to, right?
That's so
So all these things are going to eventually empower each one of us and give us the confidence to stand against taboo, stand against discrimination, and yes, it will help us produce a lot of healthy and somehow civilized individuals.
I hope
would
so.
I would wrap up with the last thing, that particularly in this COVID, a lot of people have gone through that processing. So see, whatever I usually mention that whatever you have experienced and learned in the lockdown, please lock that in. Lock in what you have learned during the lockdowns,
Right.
and get yourself on the track to change, bringing out change and reaching out to the community.
Very beautifully said, and I think what we're taking away from this is self-evaluation is absolutely very important, because I cannot condone a single person who justifies their bad behavior because they weren't feeling well or they were feeling down. Talk about it, sort it out, because your negativity should never impact another person. Very quickly, Dr. Maaz and Ifat, I want you guys to please be quick in your messages.
Very quickly. So, I have this saying that in my social circle that in this digital age, ek aur ek 11 nahi hai, 111 hai. Secondly, we are always focusing on what is happening and what should happen. We should now start focusing on why she is putting up with this abuse, why this girl is not being sent to school.
Thank you for saying that.
And third is that जो आखिरी चीज़ जो उनसे है कि मतलब we have to leverage, there are some levels in our society, when we go from one extreme we are going to the other extreme. For example, you can highlight that Prophet, peace be upon him, never raised his hand on any woman.
Yes.
Secondly, no woman in our society should be left at home, etc., because culturally this is a wrong thing. Thank you for this honor as well.
Dr. Maaz, thank you so much. Ifat?
Okay, Shiza, I would quickly mention that there is a need of multi-pronged strategy in order to get the solutions of these issues. First, as a think tank, we need to go for perception management and perception building both, for mental health issues and for the girl-child, gender equality both. Number two, as an individual, we should sensitize this issue on several levels, and for that, we should go for multi-sectoral collaboration, what we were talking about. And as a female member of my family, I should set the precedent that I should deal my daughter and my son equally.
Absolutely.
And that will set the example. This is the way we can bring change in our society.
Practice what you preach. That is very brilliant.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You guys did an amazing job, and I'm pretty sure we try to sort of deliver the right kind of message to the public as well. Towards the end, very quickly, I just want to say one thing. I really take this moment to request the traditional media, that is the TV channels, especially the private ones, and then the Instagrammers or the YouTubers or the bloggers and the vloggers of this particular age, to use their platform to raise awareness, because the kind of impact you guys have, of the kind of reach you guys have, is insane. It's going to reach into households that really need such kind of counseling. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any feedback, any questions regarding what we spoke about today, which I hope did stay with you, make sure to write to us on a social media page, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all with the name of Wild This Morning. It's on your screens right now as well, and the repeat of this particular show you will be able to catch at 5 past midnight tonight, inshallah. Till the next time, take care. Good morning.